Hello, Intro Psych students. I hope you guys are doing well. So, I would like to give you an intro into what we're going over this week. Really quick, I'll show this the way it looks like to you. Um, Let me get down to Module 5. So, this week we're covering Module 5, and I'm going to take you through the overview first. We're talking about memory and stress and emotional health. So you're going to be reading chapters 8 and 12. You want to make sure you complete 2 peer reviews of Module 4 Project Part 1 by Thursday at midnight if possible. Make sure you look at all the Module 5 resources, read chapters 8 and 12, do your initial post in Module 5, discussion forum, and then by Sunday you want to have 2 replies to your colleagues or me. Make sure you submit the Module 5 reflection journal and then continue to work on your final project that's due in Module 7. Please don't hesitate to reach out to me if you need anything. Have a great week. So transitioning from what's due this week, I would like to focus on what I use to manage my stress and maintain my emotional health and well-being. So I've mentioned this book before called The Depression Cure, Overcoming Depression Without Drugs. And I do want to say that, the drugs are sometimes necessary, but I do think a lot of Americans struggle with mental health issues that are related to depression, may include some depression, but may not be like extreme clinical depression. I think anyone, anywhere, should read this book because I think it is like a manual of how to maintain your mental health. We do a lot to maintain our physical health. We exercise, we try to eat right, but we don't always necessarily think about our mental health. And although I think that's highly intertwined with our physical health, there are definitely some things that you can do to maintain your mental health. So I'm going to Google the therapeutic lifestyle change, therapeutic lifestyle change, sorry. And this is based on the book, and we're going to go to this therapeutic lifestyle change TLC home, and I know this researcher is at the University of Kansas. So if we go here, there is a lot of resources, but I want to specifically direct you to the TLC elements. And here he outlines 6 different things that people should do to kind of maintain their mental health and work on depression or fighting off depression. The first thing he talks about is omega-3 fatty acids because it's really necessary for your brain to work effectively. I started taking omega-3s in the dosage that he suggests, and I started running again for, one of the first time in years. So taking omega-3 fatty acids is not only good for your brain, but it's also good for a lot of other things like dry eyes, dry skin, allergies, asthma, and joints. It makes a lot of sense, right? You need to oil those joints. But this is hugely important for mental health. Our ancestors got omega-3s and omega-6s in the right ratio, and in a modern diet, especially in the US, we don't get them in the right proportions, and so this can lead to depression. And the reason why he puts this one first is because it's easier to do. A lot of Americans like to take drugs, so they if we could take a pill that helped depression, omega-3 would be it. The next thing is anti-rumination strategies. Rumination is like when we just get into a mental habit and we keep thinking about the same thing over and over again. And it's kind of reinforcing because we think we're going to get to an answer. We think we're going to solve it, but a lot of times we don't. And so one of the things he talks about is doing things that get us out of rumination. and not doing things that allow us to ruminate, like sitting in our cars, watching TVs. Those kinds of things don't really help us break out of rumination, but getting out and socializing with other people, that breaks up rumination. Also, just setting a timers. If you're worried about something, give yourself 5 to 10 minutes to think about it. After that amount of time, you're not probably going to come to any solution of the problem. So don't sit around thinking about things in a negative way. So you can read a little bit more here. He has a video here. But again, the book is great, but this is all of the elements of the book. Exercise, especially walking, is really, really good for us. And when you sit around and you don't get exercise, that contributes to depression, and it contributes to your self-esteem. It doesn't make you feel very good. So exercising is hugely important for improving your mental health, fighting depression. Light exposure. Our ancestors were out in the sunshine a lot, or at least out in natural light a lot. So you need to be out in the sun, especially early in the day. And being in sunlight early in the day kind of helps to set your circadian rhythm so you sleep better at night. And sleep is hugely important for depression because poor sleep can contribute to depression. Not getting enough sunlight can cause depression, so you need to be out in sunlight. It's hugely important for your mental health. And by improving your mental health, you're also lowering your stress. Social support, make sure you have good friends and family. Put yourself around people who support you and love you. Our ancestors lived in really close communities. They knew who was on their side. And especially living in a modern environment, we're forced to interact with strangers and people who may not be that good of friends, and that can cause a lot of stress for us. So it's important to spend time with people who get us and care about us. There's no video for that, unfortunately. And the last thing is sleep hygiene. Making sure your sleep is high quality is hugely important. Getting out in the sunlight can help set your sleep. Exercising can help with your sleep. Socializing can help with your sleep because you're having to work hard cognitively to engage in your social skills. I think also being a student, you learn a lot, and that makes you tired as well. So make sure you get plenty of sleep. Do things that contribute to your sleep, like making sure in the evening that your lights are turned down and that you're not doing any physical activity an hour or two before you go to bed. One of the biggest risks, as he says here, to depression is not getting enough sleep. So make sure you get a bedtime ritual, calm down, don't do anything stressful or super arousing or exciting before bed. I know one of the things I used to do was watch The Walking Dead, and I had to stop. I had to record it and watch it later on because I would get so amped up watching it that I couldn't go to sleep for hours afterward. But there's also a video here for healthy sleep. So I think if you follow these things, you can really minimize your stress. You can be psychologically and mentally healthier and happier. And this can help prevent or lower or maybe even erase depression. So I hope you find this helpful, and I hope you have a great week.